Welcome, Helen Curnow, to the show, Perfect Health on Elastic FM with Elaine Godley. Lovely to have you with us today.
Nice to be with you too.
You have quite a harrowing story to share with the listeners today, so I hope people are sitting down. And it's the first time that you've shared this story publicly, so I acknowledge and respect your braveness on this, Helen.
Thank you.
So when you were younger, it's a situation that involved your grandfather, I believe?
Yes, it was.
So
my grandfather used to visit. He lived in Bristol, but he used to come down most weekends and visit us as a family. Initially, it was just me and my sister, because I'm one of 4 children. I have a sister and 2 brothers. So he would come down and help my dad, because my dad was self-employed. So when I was very tiny, it was fine. When I hit about 4, 5, he used to come down a little bit longer when he wasn't working, because he was a lorry driver, and he always stayed at my mum and dad's, and he had a bedroom sort of away from the main bedrooms of the house. And he always used to, in the mornings, invite me in and for a cuddle. And that was fine in the beginning, but over time it just got a lot more intimate and interfering. When you're that age, you just, or for me, I thought nothing of it, of this being handled like this and treated like it. This went on for many years. Whenever he visited, I used to, hate it, because I was sort of the picked on one. And as I grew older, it got more involved. He used to put his hand over my mouth to keep me quiet and to tell me not to tell anybody. It was our secret, which I did, and I've it's affected me. Well, it still affects me a little till this day. Not as much since I told a counsellor about it about a year ago. I've never told anybody, but I'd always heard, obviously, about children being mistreated and everything, and I just kept it to myself, because I was told that I was never ever to tell, and the hand would go over the mouth, and he would bring me gifts and stuff to keep me quiet. And I know that now. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought I'd been a good girl, done as I was asked, and for that I got a dolly or a teddy or sweets or a little gift. So this went on until I was about 12, and when he was and then he passed away. He died, so that meant that it stopped for me. So for me, that was good, but it lived with me. It lived, it's lived through my marriage, to this, apart from this last year where I've really sort of dealt with it on a greater level, and know it's completely wrong. Know that it was a form of rape, which, when you're a child, and this was probably back in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, that this was going on. It was never ever talked about, and because I was told not to talk about it, I didn't talk about it. I just kept it to myself. But over the years, because I was told to keep so much to myself, I have never been one to talk things through. So I would take on everybody else's baggage, help everybody else, not sort of ask for help, complain. I've had, when I had my first daughter, back in the late 80s. I had terrible postnatal depression that then went on to manifest into really bad depression and everything. So I started down the path of taking medication from the doctor. And that's good. You know, it has its good points and its bad points. And I did different therapies and help and everything. But I realise now I never, ever got to the bottom of the problem. The depression for me is a way of shutting down, not dealing with what's going on. You know, I can go for so long and I'm in a bad place, and then I'll come out of it. I'm better in the summer than I am in the winter, which is obviously to do more seasonal, but I am better in the summer. And then I went on to have another child, and again I had another, you know, bad dip with postnatal depression and depression. And I know it's one of those illnesses, and it is an illness, that unless you ask for help, you can't do anything. You can't help yourself very well. There's lots of things out there, but you do need to talk to somebody and realize where you are and what's occurring for you. So I continued to work. At that stage, I have a very dominant father who is very vocal. He doesn't he always shouts. He's always shouted, but I take it personally. But I don't. I'm the only one out of there's sort of the 4 children that sort of, you know, I work with him. And back in January, it just dawned on me that I can't do this anymore, because I was never, you know, I do my very, very best. I give my all. I look after him. I look after my mum. I look after all my family. And for what? I just get shouted at all the time. And that's hard. That's hard. Now I've done so much sort of work on myself, with my just self-improvement and doing different things with, you know, different people, and realizing this. I tend not, you know, to, I see him a couple of times a week, but in that couple of times a week, it's hard. It's hard, you know. Whatever I'm doing is always wrong, even though, you know, and he shouts at me for not doing it right, even though I know I'm doing it right. It's just his manner.
Is he like that with everybody, or just with you?
No, just me. Everybody knows that he's it's just the way he is, and I know now it's just the way he is. But I've hit sort of 52 now, and I realise I can't keep on this path anymore. I can't be doing something I don't love.
Are you still working with him?
Yeah.
What work is it?
My dad's a monumental mason, so he makes memorials. So we're in the funeral service. So it is quite a hard sector to be in, a service. And I've just lost the passion for it now. I do it for my dad, because it's my dad lives and breathes it. And obviously, you know, now my youngest brother started working with him, and now my son is working with us as well. But it's just so hard. And lately I've been struggling with it again, with him, because I want to leave, but I've not got the strength at the moment to stand up. I've never answered him back, but I've answered him back more recently, you know, and saying, you know, this is, you know.
Is your father, was it your father's father that behaved badly towards you?
Yeah.
So maybe he's feeling the guilt, and if his behaviour is just purely directed to you, every time he sees you, he sees his father, and perhaps feels angry that he wasn't able to do anything about it because he didn't know.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know, so he can't fix what he doesn't know, and everything. I don't know. It's just the way that the relationship's gone and everything. So about it's probably been getting worse over the last 3 years. So about 2 years ago, I was talking to somebody on Facebook about a product that I thought that sounded what I was needing, because I lack energy, and with depression, your immune system is not as strong as it would be if you were just, an ordinary person,
Yes.
because with the lowness and everything.
Mm.
So I connected with her and just asked if I could try it to see how it was for me and everything. And I found it really did help. And it has helped me, over the last 2 years. But I really got into taking it this year when I had my breakdown. I thought, because it does give me the energy, it does make me feel better, it does make me feel a lot happier. And I've been doing more personal development work, gratitude journals, and just writing stuff down, talking to more people about, depression. I can spot somebody with depression a mile off. They don't have to tell me.
Yeah,
I
you
can
just know,
see
don't
it.
you? Yeah,
I do. Yeah,
when you've gone through something, you just know.
yeah, that's it. So whether I'm in the school playground, whether I'm in the supermarket, they've just have this, like, an aura around them that I spot. So I tend to speak to people now. If it's people that I know, I'll just go up and have a chat with them, and just because talking does help. And it took me years and years to realize that talking helps. It really does.
Talking is a great therapy, and obviously you're talking now to a big audience. So
Yeah.
you've not shared your story before, publicly, about your granddad.
No,
So, and you still haven't shared that with your father.
I've not shared with any family. No.
Okay. So hopefully this is a step for you in making making the communication better with your family, perhaps.
Um, Perhaps. I think the way I feel about it at the moment is that I'm not the only one who's suffering like this at the moment. There are other people out there as
There are
well,
lots, absolutely lots.
and if I can just help one person, then this chat this morning, that would be fantastic, because that's all it's taken. It's taken me to start talking about it this sort of last 8-9 months, and realizing that I'm not alone. And I've been so lonely for so many years and years and years, because I felt like it was my responsibility, it was my fault, it was happening to me, my problem. Nobody else around me, picked up on it or noticed it or acknowledges it. Even my parents now, I had a breakdown in January. They were told this by my husband, that I was absolutely whacked out mentally, physically, and everything. And they still say to people, oh, she's not well. They've not told them what happened to me.
Yes.
Or my dad calls it gardening leave. Oh, she's on gardening leave. We should be back when she's when she's better, but she's on gardening leave at the moment. So even now, and this has been happening to me for the last 32 years, the depression, they still won't acknowledge it.
There's an awful lot of kind of stigma about the word depression, although it's getting a lot more acceptable now because so many people have it. And even stress, the word stress, it was never cool to say that you're stressed. Now stress is almost kind of in every sentence, especially with the younger people who are under extreme pressure and stress. So I think it's really good. So the talking therapy that you had, you saw a counsellor in January, or when you were feeling better in January. So is that something that was arranged through your GP surgery, or something that you did yourself?
No, I probably about last August, I'd connected with this lady, and I'd already started my counselling with her. and going through everything and dealing with lots of other little issues. And it was just in one of those sessions that we were just talking about something, and just something inside of me clicked, and I went, I can tell her this. I feel comfortable. I feel that she's not going to tell anybody. She's not going to judge me. She's not going to have a go at me. She's not going to tell me it's a load of rubbish. She just encouraged me. I've learned so much from her on what is acceptable behaviour and what is not. And it just happened that day. But it took a good probably sort of 6 to 8 months to get to that stage. And I think that's what's happened. I came out with this, a thing that had happened, this experience that had happened to me, and from that, other things, came out, about my dad and what I was doing, because I always used to wear jumpers up here, and shirts buttoned up to the top and very prim and proper and stuff like that, kept everything in, trousers, but since I've been doing this work and doing more what sort of mindfulness work and stuff, I find now that if I wear anything around my throat, tight jumpers, I just feel I'm suffocating now, because I've spoken.
You're finding your voice, aren't you?
I'm finding my voice slowly,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's still taking time. I still, have, certain members of my family. My relationship with my eldest daughter is not fantastic, but it's improving. It's on a different level now than what it was. But for a long while, I didn't sort of have anything to do with her, because I felt she was zapping me of all my energy and everything. But as I say, when I found this project, and it's called MOA, and I started taking it regularly, it's helped me no end. It makes me smile just to say it, and I love what it's done for people. So I enrolled with the company that was selling it, so I'm now a rep, and I speak to people and I recommend it to them, and if they want it, that's fantastic. If they don't, that's fine. Everybody's on a different path, everybody's on a different journey, and I can only tell what's happened to me. I've got clients that have lupus that have found it amazing, fibromyalgia, absolutely amazing. It's taken the pain out of their body. IBS, it helps so many symptoms on so many levels. It's fantastic. It really is. And for me, it's really, really helped. It helps. Although I'm taking the antidepressants, and that's something I've never ever, sort of admitted to people until probably this last year. Oh, I'm on antidepressants, but don't be bad about it, because if they're helping, let's celebrate that. That's fine. So with the MOA, they just help me to absorb it better. So I don't feel as zombie-ish on the antidepressants now like I used to, because I think they're working better for me. Although I know, if I do miss one in the morning, I pay for it later on in the evening, because I sort of dip a bit and I get a bit agitated and stuff. But it's not the stigma. It's not there with taking the antidepressants like it was years ago. Years ago, you could not say you were on an antidepressant, because you were just put in a box and put to one side, weren't you? So
that's right. I think social media has got a lot to be. We have a lot to be grateful for with social media now, because lots of people are finding their voice, and there's lots of support groups. And I guess you're in some very support groups on Facebook.
Yes.
Closed groups where you can share, what's happening with you.
Yeah.
They're absolutely great.
Yeah, definitely.
So the future's looking a lot better. You're certainly looking bright.
Yes, I'm definitely a lot better place than I've been for quite a while. And as I say, I know that some days aren't as good as other days, but I just remind myself, where I've come and what's happening now. I'm doing very well within my business, and it's going from strength to strength. So that's a great thing too. I just, I've still got a few little things I need to deal with, and you know, over the next few months, hopefully they'll, you know, I'll get the strength to deal with them too. And
Brilliant. I'm sure you will. Well done, Helen. Excellent.
thank you.
I asked people for 2 songs. You've chosen Madonna, Holiday. Why is that one special to you?
That's the first song that my now husband and I that was the first dance he asked me to dance with him in a nightclub in Weston. This was the song that was on. So whenever I hear it, I always think of, you know, the first time I sort of met him, and we just had a bit of a boogie to this. Yeah.
Lovely. Okie doke. And Ed Sheeran, Castle on the Hill, one of my favourite songs. Why is that special to you?
Oh, we love Ed Sheeran in this house, you know. So I've got an 8-year-old, and we love to put it on in the car, and we all sing along to it. So whenever I hear it, I think of him sitting in the back, you know, boogieing away. He's 8 now, so but he loves Ed Sheeran too. So yeah, it just resonates. So
excellent. Well, thank you very much, Helen. Those songs will be on shortly after this interview for you.
Lovely, thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing your story, and best of luck for the future.
Lovely, thank you very much for your time too.
I'd better just, before we close, how do people get hold of you? So anybody who's been affected by your story in any way, I'm sure, being the positive spirited person you are, you'd be happy to help people. So how do they contact you?
So you can find me on Facebook. So my personal profile is Helen Curnow, and then I have a business page as well called Simply Beautiful. And if you just type in Helen Curnow in lowercase 65, that'll take you to my business page. And then I've got a closed group where we do a little bit more in-depth work and talk about different things as well. So
okay, how are you spelling Curnow?
Curnow.
So that's Helen Curnow, and the page is Simply Beautiful.
Simply Beautiful, yes.
Marvellous. Okie doke. Thanks again, Helen.
Lovely, thank you.